My name is no longer ignorant. I am an esoteric Christian. An esoteric believes in the teachings of Jesus Christ, believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He died on the cross for our sins. Sin being just a way to say, you went the wrong way. But in addition, and the Jesus Christ doctrine believed is that of Matthew, Mark, and John only. In addition, there is a strong belief in esoteric principles, esoteric knowledge, magic, belief that the universe, as amazing as it is not so simplistic, but there are other inhabitants in the universe, and that we live within a galactic community. What this means needs to be understood from the perspective of the teaching of Jesus Christ. Because what Jesus Christ taught, above all, is that God is love. The religion of the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims are thus the same. The monotheistic understanding of God. The polytheistic understanding of God is that of Ra, Odin, the Greek gods, the Roman gods, the Native American gods, and the gods of the Chinese. All of those representing the aspects of the true God, the one and only God. In fact, good and evil is in the one true God. The devil is merely part of God. This is very difficult to understand for people. But getting back to Jesus, Jesus Christ taught that God is love. He took the information about the Ten Commandments, and instead of making it a law and a bunch of rules that the Jews did, who created the Talmud, he said, no, these are principles. These are examples. You don't crucify people because they don't follow those laws. You have no right to enforce God's law. That's God's job. Yet Jesus, in one of my favorite verses, in Matthew, said, I did not come to bring peace, but the sword. In other words, he encouraged personal responsibility. That is, in effect, the law of intention. To understand this from a slightly different perspective, you need to understand that there are different interpretations at different levels of people's understanding of God. That God is not as simple as people would like to believe. And that you must understand the principle of sovereignty. Sovereignty is simply about doing what a group of people believe in a small area. So, if a group of people believe a certain set of things, then they can believe those things in that area, regardless of whatever it is. Yet what has happened throughout history is that God has been limited by the very people who believe in God. And they're trying to push their view of God and their view of morality and their view of everything else. All you need to do is understand that in the United States, for example, the states originally had the power to determine, the communities had the power to determine what was believed, whether they should have medical care, whether they shouldn't have medical care, whether they should have an army, whether they should teach, put God in the schools, whether they want to have South Park on every channel, or they want to have VeggieTales. And now we've expanded that to the country. And soon, with the advent of the UN, we seek to expand it to the world. Arrogant are. The challenge is far more complex than people realize, because the challenge we face now is that there's a group of people who actually believe they can override the free will of everyone and only focus on the way they see things. And they actually believe they're in control, but they're not. For there are other spirits in the universe that feed off of denial itself, that feed off of the lies that people tell themselves and others. And they control you. You don't control them. If you walk away from truth, you walk into denial. This is the foundation of an esoteric Christian.